Good morning, guys. I didn't know if we're going to rerun some of this mess from last week. This morning, wouldn't mind seeing a pullback back into the 700s or so and hold between like 70 and 90. Or, yeah, 90 and 90. Ah, shoot. I got to change. So we do have a lot of 3-star news this morning, guys. Let's see. Let me check that news time again just to make sure. So, a lot of 3-star news this morning. I think 27 minutes, so I guess that would put it at 9:45. Let's see. Well, 37. Well, yeah, 22 minutes. So that's 9:45. We also 36 minutes, so that's at 10 o'clock. All right. I didn't list what they are. A lot of times I put it what they are, but today I didn't put that on there. least we got some all-time highs we can go to and not just battling the lows. So looks like there's a lot of resistance sitting up there at the 280 and right above that 26,300. A lot of levels to the upside if we're going to go to all-time highs. To the downside, I think we have the, I want to say we have the weakening, another opening week gap, because I don't think we ran last week's gap yet. And that's all the way back down at 26,020. Let's see, for shorts, I want us back below 182. Then we possibly could look for shorts out of there. But that's also the POC. All right, let's see. All right, guys. Market opens in about 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. We're just going to watch the 5 minutes on our charts. Right now, everything kind of points to the upside. All right, so what do we got? Minute and a half, minute, 10 seconds. If you're joining us on TikTok here, we do have 3-star news, so we might not even get any trades for this first 30 minutes. Just be aware that if you are trading in that first 15 minutes that we have 3-star news starting at 9:45 and 10 o'clock this morning. I think what worries me is all the movement that we had overnight. I'm scared it might be a dud this morning. All right, here we go. 10 seconds. All right, market's open, guys. Just remember, if you are joining in these open market trades, that we have 3-star news at 9:45. I just don't know if it's just going to be a straight dud this morning. Just being patient, guys. Like I said, it's a Monday. We do have 3-star news. Like I said, it could just be a low start just because we had so much. We had quite a bit of movement overnight. But if you're looking at the volume profile, everything looks green at the moment. The next thing that we could wait on here is the top of this wick right here is the top of the opening 15-minute candle. So we could wait for a push, then a pull back into. That would be the safer way to do it. I wouldn't chase it. Like I said, news in 9:45, 10 o'clock. I think if we do take an early trade, because I was going to copy trade my funded with this, but I think since news is so close, we may just do our eval here and wait for after the news. I don't have that opening range indicator on the chart that you guys are looking at. So my chart looks a little different. I have like a square white box that I'm looking at. And like I said, the top of this is your opening 15-minute candle. And that's from 9 o'clock to 9:15. I'm going to wait for the second 5-minute candle here. Because we got this, the 320 level. That's the top of another set of wicks. Then all the way up to the 400. It's still a fairly mild open. I mean, we've only moved up, what, 20 points since the opening. So, like I said, I think a lot of people are going to be sitting still until 3-star news. And we got a minute left on this 5-minute candle. Now, if we get a 5-minute candle to somewhat print above this 15-minute opening range, then maybe we can look for a long off of it. All right, here comes that first 5-minute candle. I was hoping this first 5-minute would open up above that 15-minute range, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that this morning. All right, let's see what kind of pullback we can get if we're looking for what. Let me move. See, I look at the hourly chart and the 5-minute chart usually. It looks like the bears are kind of taking over. If you kind of look at the volume profile, the bears are definitely taking over the profile here on the 5-minute chart. I say maybe a pullback back into the 160s and 170s. Or even a pull back all the way into like the 160s would be probably ideal here. Or even back to the 180s would be good. Now, if we get below the 180s, we will be definitely looking for a short below the 180s. Yeah, we have that overnight gap fill in. I have it marked out over here on my other charts, and I forgot what level that is. So basically what it is, if you just kind of stroll to last night's opening, you can see that there's a gap fill in all the way back down to 25,995, and that would give you the gap fill in, but I don't know if we get back down there today. That's about a 200-point drop. It may take the news to get us down there. I'm looking for 172 to 180 to kind of take a bounce. And I'm also using a volume profile. That's kind of how I'm coming up with these levels. If you're just curious. And that's on the 5-minute and the 1 hour. So if 180 to 170 holds, we'll look for a long out of that area if that area holds. So yeah, 180. Print below 180, we'll look for shorts. So it looks like we just wicked off of that. You see that quick little wick on the 5 minutes? You could have put a resting order, but just the fact that it's so early in the morning, I'm not going to do that. So there's the bounce off of the 183. All right. Right now that area is holding. That's the 180 area that we were just kind of discussing there. So you want to see us kind of get a print below this level here if you're going to look for shorts. If this area holds, we'll definitely stick to looking for longs. Yeah, you can see that bounce out of that 170 to 180 area. But this area has to hold. feel like 150s, 140s if we lose this area. All right, here comes our new candle. I was hoping if we're going to look for shorts, it would have been a little bit lower. I don't think we're going to get the call here. Only 6 seconds left. All right, we're going to take a short here. If we have to get some kind of pullback here, that's fine too. Maybe back up to the 200s. Maybe we'll add. Like I said, we could possibly get a 200 retest here, because a lot of times if you play these whole numbers, and we may add if we get a retest up here, because we're only in it for 2 micros, so we're in at very low risk because it's so close to news. We're only trading an eval at the moment. We got the 90 touch there. Didn't quite get up to 200. I was hoping we could add maybe if it got back up to 200, but it didn't. If we hit our first target, we're probably going to go to break even probably sooner than I want to. Like I said, just because news. I don't know if we'll be able to get that next target down at 30. So we got our first target, which is 10 points. Man, I just... Yeah. So what makes this more difficult, like I said, we're so close to news, and I don't want to get trapped in a big pullback here. To have a safe stop loss, you need to be pretty far back up there. All right. We'll shoot for 20 points out of this next contract. So it'll either be a break even or 20 points. All right, so we're going to start taking some profit out of this. All right, we hit both of our things. Like I said, I wanted to shoot for that 30. If you look at your volume profile, 30 to 20 is kind of like the target down where the buyers kind of step back in. But it's so close to news, and you just got to be eerie of that. No, well, I just took a direct 20 points, because most time we bounce out of those 50s. And we got yesterday's open. Well, yeah, I guess that's Friday's open sitting at 149. So more likely we were going to get a bounce out of the 50s. I'm okay with 20 points. I just hope the 3-star news don't mess up the charts, like where you get this massive, like say 100-point candle or just candle where it just messes up your charts. I don't think you'll get very much movement for the next minute. Like I said, 3-star news in less than a minute. So just be aware that if you're in your trade, at least get to your stop loss or somewhat of a manageable stop loss in case it just, you don't want to get your face ripped off here. Since I'm out of the trade, it'll probably go to my initial target, which is 30. Just- that's usually the case there. All right, I'll pull over the volume profile thing that we're using. I don't know if, let me make sure I got that in there. Oh, I guess so. Yeah. So sailors are all in control of this until you get down into this range here, into the low 26,000s. Sweet. Oh, it ended up being a dud. Okay, so 3-star news was a dud here at 9:45. So now we just have 3-star news at 10. Let's see. Maybe if we can lose, but that's on the hourly candle. I don't know if we got to wait for that hourly candle to print below 70 to see if that's going to be a legitimate sell. So we retested those 81s, basically back to our original entry there. The movement has been very mild this morning for open for Nasdaq. So I mean, about 70, 80 points in the first 15 minutes, which is not a whole lot. Um, so that level is still holding. Let me mark it out right where that's the 83. And we got 2 more minutes for a 5-minute inside bar, and that would be the first 5-minute inside bar here. Trying to decide, do we want to just jump back in and just let it ride and use that 83 as our stop loss? It'll just pretty much be a break-even trade. So basically, if we lose, it'll just take the profits that we made a while ago. Sorry. All right, we're about to have a if it pulls back, we'll just add. We want in super small because it could bounce after this first target. It barely tapped it missed our targets by a point. Could get a bounce here at the 100s. I'm going to look for a bounce off the 110s. Yeah. Those were those levels that we were looking for earlier. The only thing that you can do is probably pull Fibonacci and see if we're going to get a 50% pullback, because we haven't had that good 50% pullback yet. I'm going to go to break even. And this way, if it does pull back, we can always re-enter. What it is, that's the 200 EMA, the moving average down there at 18, and that's what I was worried about, the bounce there off of that 18. And that's the purple line here that you can see on the screen. Oh. Is that thing delayed? Looks like that thing is delayed. All right, so far 2 trades, 2 winners. We didn't get the 20 points on the second runner. We just look for 10 points in runners is all we're looking for. I'm thinking we're just going to have to wait till after 10 o'clock. That'll be our last 3-star news. And I'm hoping after that, the market will feel a little bit more normal after that last 3-star news. Usually I go to, let me see. You got 6 minutes left to manufacturer PMI. And I use investing.com for the what news of the day. I use their calendar. And to get to their calendar, you just basically log on to investing.com, go to tools and select economic calendar, and it'll give you like what news is going to be happening for the day. I know there's another one that's, I guess, people use as far as red folder news goes, but this is the one that I've always used for quite a while. Now, I would definitely be all short bound if our 1 hour candle in 5 minutes can print below 71. Then I think what we'll do is just try to hold a runner until maybe the opening week gap. So we're just going to wait for at least another 5 minutes till the news happens. All right, like I said, we're just going to be patient. I think we're up 80 bucks right now, and that's just trading a few micros. Man, the only way that I would be enticed to take this if we get that first 5-minute inside bar, because usually we do take those. And that's the purple candles that you see on my screen. Usually the first inside bar, we do take those in the mornings at open. So the candle right now looks at about 20 points. So you have about a 20-point stop loss. I want to say last weekend, I think this was 50-50. It did have a couple losing days last week on that 5-minute inside bar. Is anybody else in here trading, or are you guys just passing through? I know a lot of times when I'm flipping through TikTok, I just pass through like people's lives, not necessarily I'm trading. All right, so right now the inside bar is still intact. You got about 2 minutes left on it. So what we'll do is we'll look for the either wherever it breaks out. So this is what these lines are for. So if it breaks out above this line, we'll look for longs. If it breaks out below this, we'll look for shorts. But I don't know if we'll be able to get that today. Just like I said, we do have news in 2 minutes, or about 2 minutes, 20 seconds. So I don't know how well that'll work. I don't know how much of a delay there is on TikTok either when it comes to trading. So definitely not sure of that. Oh, okay. I'm trading. Is that when you mean sim? Do you mean by eval, Katso? Or is that slow? Katso? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. If not, sorry about that. Is that a sim count or a valuation from like one of the prop firms? All right, so 1 minute left in this 5-minute candle. What prop firm are you using for your simulation account? Are you just paying like a premium or something to have live data? I know a lot of like usually I recommend just getting like a cheap valuation or a prop firm. That way you don't have to pay for the data. All right. We're going to have an inside bar. Unfortunately, it's at news, so I don't know if we'll be able to take it because it's at 10 o'clock, so there's just no way to really take this safely. Well, let's see what happens. Is it going to bust to the outside, downside? Which way are we going? Another dud news candle this morning. I mean, to the downside, definitely looks a lot better. All right, real quick. That was a quick 10-minute candle. That thing went quick. All right, broke to the downside. Hopefully we don't get much of a bounce here at the 100s. I'm going to go to break even or just right above it. And the reason I'm going to do that is because maybe I'll just risk 5 points because we could bounce hard off of this. Or maybe we can play the 90 level. We'll play the 90 level. There we go. And this was your first 5-minute inside bar is what this is. And you can kind of go down to the 1 minute. It kind of even looks like a like a bull bear flag. If you go look at the 1 minute. See, we could bounce hard at this 1 minute. I mean 100 level. I was hoping we'd at least get a 90 touch first, then bounce. Because down in the 80s, there's a lot of, in the volume profile, it's pretty much all bull sitting down there in the 80s. Or even 91. Actually, I'm going to do 97. That's the top of that candle. I don't know if we'll get down there. Because it could go all the way back up to 25 here. There's several traders that are in my lobby quite a bit on my YouTube channel. He trades a lot of the whole numbers. And so what he'll do is he will take a long off the 100s back up to the 25, looking from whole number to whole number, or trading from 50 to 25 and 25 down to the whole numbers. For anybody that does trade whole numbers, I usually trade off whole numbers, or I at least respect the whole number. But it did at least pay 25 points. Yeah, it paid 25 points. What we could do is re-enter this if it stops us out. Like if it comes all the way back up to the top of this previous 5-minute candle and it can't break above it, and then we'll just look for another short back below this 5-minute candle. This is where your stop loss needs to be if you want to play it the right way. And I'm not playing it to the exact. All right, so we got another 10 points out of that. Let's see if we can get that last contract here. Sometimes you can pull Fibonacci and get a 50% of your previous 5-minute candle and see where it's going. So you even could have waited for the retest of this previous 5-minute candle. See how that held? So that's where your stop loss needs to be. Even though this would have been kind of spooky of it moving back up, it's still a validated short as long as this previous 5-minute candle did not break, and it did not. So it held. Nice. All right, so that turned into a nice little setup on the 5-minute inside bar. And I'm pretty sure we're probably going to leave some profit on the table, but that's okay. All right, so at the moment we're up 153. Let's see. Yeah, so we're at 153. I forgot when I did that. I think I was messing around last night making sure my stuff was working. So looking at the volume profile, this is why I went ahead and just took my profit, because I wasn't sure if the bulls were going to take back over in this range here, because it looks like there's more buyers sitting in this area. So oh, it's like I lost my chart there. All right, so probably no more setups for a few minutes without no kind of pullback. We got to have a pullback before we have any more entries. So far this morning, we shorted that one level that we talked about, that 83 level. I said if we get below that, we're going to short. And this next setup was the 5-minute inside bar, and that's that purple candle that you see on my screen. We had to wait a little bit because there was news happening at that time, so we waited. Our runner got stopped out, but I said if it pulls back up and that 5-minute inside bar holds, we will look for another short. And that next short, we got both. We got a 10-pointer plus, I don't know what, almost a 30-point trade out of the two. So pretty good start so far for Monday. The 3-star news has been pretty much a dud all day. And I'm a fan of that because I hate whenever we have 3-star news and it messes up the charts. I'm not a big fan of the big boner candles that are like 1 and 200 points in either way. I just feel like it messes up the charts. All right, so this is what we were talking about. If you look at your volume profile, that the bulls were kind of taken over in that area. And I've just recently started using the volume profile, but I just never realized how much of a help it is. I mean, you can see it right here where you can see the bulls are pretty much in charge in this area. So we took our last take profit in a really nice area. And this volume profile is just on TradingView. Maybe a pullback up to the 161s here. That would be a nice area if we're looking for another short. Or maybe even the 40s. It looks like well, I don't know, man. The bulls are coming in. The bulls keep adding. I'll set it up there. That way you can see. We could get stuck here around the 43s. As you can see, the bears are still in charge in the 40s. So long as 171 holds, I still feel like the bears are going to stay in control. Because if you go over to the 1 hour chart, as you can see, the bears are still in control of this area here. And also these 5 minutes inside bars, you can get this indicator for free. Most of the indicators that I have on my charts are all free, except for TradingView. You know, if you use TradingView, you pretty much have to pay for like the monthly things. I don't use like buy sell indicators. Mainly, all my indicators are like level based and volume based. So like order blocks, I like using order blocks. Let's see. I use volume order blocks by Flux Charts. Let me mark out these so you can see it easier here. All right, let me make sure it's in there. Yeah. So these would be your unprotested order blocks at the moment. So we do have a nice little order block up here where the bears are in control back up to 370s. And this one, the bulls are still in control. As you can see, we kind of almost hit a little over 50% of this order block. So if we start selling back through this, we should have a nice sell back down to the downside. And here's the weekly gap here from, or is that from last weekend? Oh, this was the weekly gap from last week. We never did test that weekly gap, right? Wait, where's the date? October 25th. Wait. Oh, wait. Is this from Friday? Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is your Oakley weekly gap from last week. That doesn't look right. Oh, wait, that was from 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry, guys. That was from last Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, October 26th. I feel like we had another gap from this Sunday. Unless we just filled it. Kind of hard to see on those charts. Here, let me. Yeah, it's a little bit easier to see on the Ninja charts. All right. Let me make sure you can see it if I pull it over here. All right, so this is our weekly opening gap here down at 26,012. So I mean, if we start getting down in this area, this is definitely a good area for a bounce. Unless this is the, let's see. We go, no, we haven't ran it yet. I got to talking and I missed the pullback almost all the way back up here to the 60s. So let's see what happens at this 90 bounce here. So a lot of times we hit the 90s, then it'll bounce back up to the 110 to 120. We missed that pullback, guys. Kind of just got chit-chatting and missed it. Even kind of a nice little flag setup too on the 5 minutes. So I'm pretty sure that was probably a 75, 70 range. Maybe it'll push back up, then sell back down. Let's see if this 100 holds, then sell back down. Still got 2 minutes left on this 5 minute candle. I don't know if it's going to be too early to jump into this, or maybe we can wait and pull the Fibonacci on this candle and look for the 50% pullback. A lot of times that 50% holds, more likely it's still going to continue down. We'll mark out the 50% of that candle. And that's right there at the 05s. If you're looking at volume profile, the buyers are still in charge down in the 70s and 80s. All right, like I said, we missed that pullback. I'm just kind of looking at the trading view charts. So I wasn't paying attention to the charts. We really wasn't in a big hurry to take another trade. But as right now, we're just going to be looking for shorts only. Only way we would go back to looking for longs, as right now, if we got back above the 26,200. No, this is the NQ. It's a minis NQ. Or mini Nasdaq. I've never tried trading the QQQ. The only other charts that I look at besides this is the ES, which I just use that for reference. I've been looking at the YM, but I haven't really figured out how to trade the YM. So the NQ is mainly where I focus at. They have a similar pattern. How much is it per contract on the QQQ? So with the minis, it's $2 a contract. So most of the time, I'm usually between that 2 and 10, depending on the size. On fundeds, I try to stay under 5, but with evals, I do push it a little harder. Like I said, it's kind of hard to get short right here just because the buyers are still in control, kind of starting at the 74 all the way down to the 27s. So we need some bears to come in and kind of take over those levels. So that's kind of where you're seeing us bounce at. The contracts is about 0.5. Is that 50 cents? Is that what 0.5 is? It's 50 cents? Yes, okay. I guess that's not too bad. I may have to look into that then. I can use one of these pages on let's see. Okay, so that's the Russia's futures market. Is that right? No. I don't know. Yeah, is that right? Is that Russia's? Am I selecting the right one? Oh, you just started trading? I don't know. I typed in, well, let me do it again. I don't know if I selected the wrong one. Whenever I type in QQQ on TradingView, I don't know if this is the right one or not, but this is kind of what I get. I don't know if you can see that. No, that says ETFs. I don't think that'd be right. I'm not sure. Okay, that is right. Okay. Yeah, we had a sell signal for that NQ back up there at 936. I mean, the QQQ, we had a sell order at to get short back up at 946, 945 area. Let's see. So you can see where the bears started taking over in this area. And right now, I guess if I was still in my short position, I would look for probably a sell down to the 780s or even 750. That would be this is the ICT kill zones this is an indicator on TradingView also. And so what it does, it kind of marks out the session's kind of highs and lows. Unfortunately, we missed the pullback, so we're just going to have to wait. You're waiting for the 629 level. Let's see. Now, is that for a pullback, or is that where you got a short in? Or that's the top of that wick from Thursday. Thursday wick. Man, the Bears are in control right now, guys. All Bears. Look at this. All Bears on your volume chart. I look for, which this is the QQQ, possibly a bounce. I'm not sure how, if they're respected on these London lows like the NQ is. I mean, you can kind of see the consolidation here. I would imagine the chart's about the same. So you could maybe look for a bounce out of the 750, 745. I know whenever I take these type of trades on the NQ, usually you can get like 10 to 20 points. All right, I'm gonna go back to focusing on this for a little bit. I don't, like I said, there's no trade for it. I mean, you had to stay in this trade right now. We just got to wait for a pullback. So there's just not a lot we could do. Usually these bleeder trades are pretty tough to find entries without any type of pullback. And we missed that pullback. The pullback was right here into that 60 level. We got yesterday's close. Sometimes we do take these previous day close trade, and that's sitting at 83. What platform are you trading the QQQ on? Are you trading that on Ninja or TradingView? Which, I mean, I guess there's Tradeovate, the X, what other one is it? Quantower. You're on Robinhood? Okay, see, I've never tried Robinhood trades, which I've never used the desktop Robinhood, so I'm not sure how it looks. It's probably a lot better than it is looking on your phone. I know that Robinhood added futures contracts recently, but have never tried. Probably 90% of my trading is on the Ninja. Let's see if this 20 area holds. Yeah, usually Ninja is probably what I trade mostly on, then Quantower second. So may get a bounce here at the 20 level. So if we break this area, we could just be even farther downtown here. Let me make sure I got that right here. 18. Oh, trust me, it takes a while, man. When it comes to trading, I would never be in a hurry. I feel like that's what kind of make your trading worse. When you definitely got to think as trading as the long game. Like, you know, you need to kind of be set up where, you know, you can invest a few years in it. There's the first 20 bounce. Let me put on that Ninja Kill Zone thing where I can see where the London low is for. Oh, it's 14. Might not get that push because if you look at the hour, that 20 to 18 was your bounce area. The bottom of that London low is sitting at 14. Whew. What a bounce off of that 20 area. So we haven't had a 50% pullback. So if you pull your Fibonacci from this leg down, so this, if this is the bottom, you kind of want to see a pullback all the way up to the 80s or right at the bottom of this candle here where it just kind of takes out those wicks. What did I say? 80s or 50%? Uh-oh. I guess my live disconnected because I don't know if I wasn't using the chat enough. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I wouldn't mind seeing us get a 50% pullback here. It's at 62.98. Let's see if we can get back above this previous 5-minute candle for long. Might run into some resistance at 58, but yeah, like I said, sorry about that. I guess, oh, here we go. There we go. Probably if we can lose those 80s up there, we should keep going up. But the 50% of this total move is up at 80. That's a 50% pullback if you pull Fibonacci on this. But we also have a big bear volume profile here in the 50s. So we'll have to break through that. If we break above 60, I think we're going to pretty much go, we'll probably take at least 5 points out of this and at least get a little bit out of this contract in case it comes back. Either that or we can look for the 50% pullback here. So we'll just sell that last contract at 75 since 50% of that move is here at 82. And what a boner 5-minute candle, guys. Things straight up. Like I said, we got to get that 50% pullback. So just be careful up here at the 80s because it could completely turn around right there. Nice. Man, what a rip back to the 50%. All right, let's see what happens at this level here at the 82s. And we could also get another 50% pullback of this candle. So as you can see, this is 50% of the total move from this to here. So this could just be a little pullback to sell back down. So just be aware of that. So here's 50% of that candle back down to the 50s. Now, if this can get through the 50% range, more likely we're probably going to go back up for a little bit. But usually this is kind of the line in the sand if you pull your Fibonacci. If you're just joining us, this is the MNQs. These are micros, and most of our trades are anywhere between 2 to 10 micros, depending on what count we're trading. As right now, we are up 228, just trading a few micros this morning. I thought it was going to be a little bit more crazy with the 3-star news we had, but it wasn't too bad. The 3-star news didn't mess up the charts too bad. Now, if we get back above 134, 135, if we print above that level back up here, we will look for another long. So right now we just kind of have to sit here and just be patient. So usually whenever you got a lot of down wicks like this, most of the time it'll take a minute to get through there, because a lot of times every time it hits a wick, it has a pullback. So wick, pullback, wick, pullback. Got another wick all the way up here at 17, but you basically have all these wicks that it's just going to run into constantly. I'm not sure how do I keep TikTok, because I haven't been streaming on TikTok that much lately. Mainly we just do YouTube, and I'm not sure what I have to do to keep them from closing my live. So I don't know if it's not from typing in the chat. I don't know if anybody here knows that or not. So right here, we could get a pullback back into the 50s, because this is the 50% of this move. What, 45? We'll pull fib on it one more time just to be positive. Yeah. Is there anybody else here trading the NQ, or? I want to see a pullback to the 33 area. If you're looking at a volume profile, that's where all of your sellers are at, between 130 to 160. So if that area could hold, we could look for a short. But back above the 34s, print above 34s, we'll look for long. So I think we've taken maybe 6 trades this morning. So far, all of our trades have been winners this morning. So this morning, all of our trades, or 2 of our first trades, our first trade came off shorting the 180, and that was the one level we talked about that we were going to short before the market opens. The second trade is the first 5-minute inside bar, and that's this purple line here. So we took actually 2 trades off of this inside bar on the 5 minutes. So we took 10 points. The runner got stopped out. We waited for the pullback since it did not break back above the 5-minute inside bar, which is right here. I guess you can see that on this chart. Yeah, you can see that. And then when it sailed back through this, we got short again, and we got our full, like, I think 25 points on the runner. we can see if we're going to get the 50% pullback here to move higher. So you want to see it move back into the 50s and 60s and hold. Since this did make a new low, so it did break this low, but it did not fill in the opening week gap down at 80s. All right, so we've already had our first bounce out of the 50%. So we're trading on the 5-minute charts. And that's on micros NQ. So for micros NQ, they're about $2 a point. And for one mini, if you're new to trading the NQ, they're $20 a point. And we're trading a 50K eval with Bulanox. So there's the bounce out of your 50% pullback there. So maybe if we get back above the 90 level, which is that 9 EMA there, we could make a push up to the 20s there. So you could look for 10 points in a runner there if we get back above the 90s. And that's on the upside. Good morning, Angel. AMPX, I'm not sure what that is. Or I don't know what the definition is. It depends on how many micros you got. So if you're just trading one micro, $20 would be $40. So a lot of times I'll start off with 2 and take 10 points. And this way I can still have a stop loss. I guess I'm not sure what you were asking, XXLG. Yeah, there's just not really anything to do right here, man. It's just kind of just chopping back and forth. That's the only thing that can be kind of crappy sometimes. We might already had all of our good movement in this first hour, and this next hour could just be kind of garbage type trades. 1 hour chart. I have the 1 hour chart that we're looking at on TradingView. I didn't know if we would get a pullback back up there into like the 60s. That's kind of the middle of the range. Like 160. You're talking about the purple candle. So what that is I don't pay much attention to it at this time of the day. So that's a trade setup that we take in usually the first 30 minutes it usually presents itself. So if you kind of go back over here, this is the only one I really follow, is this one. This is your very first one, and it's a 5-minute inside bar. So what it is it's basically a pullback. If you go look at the 1-minute charts, it's basically like looking at a bear flag, but with the 5 minutes. Most of the time it's in between the previous bar. So it didn't break down to the downside, it didn't break to the upside. And so what I do is whatever size this next candle breaks out of, we take the trade. So we took the short here at 924 and it sold all the way down here. You were in a profit about 25 points. Then it pulled back, stopped out my runner, but as long as it did not break it back above the original 5-minute candle, I took the short again, and then it ended up selling off for about 40 points. The rest of these other ones I don't pay attention to later in the day. It's just this very first one. Yeah, there's just not a lot to do here. This morning was the trade. I talked about it pre-market. I got short from up at their 80s. The 80s was my kind of short target this morning. And that was in this area here. Once we printed back below the 80s. So sometimes I'll take these type of trades on a eval. So a lot of times if you cannot get back below this 9 EMA, so more likely we're going to probably make a run for this 21 EMA up there at the 15s. But the market gets really tricky between the 90 and the 110. Really doesn't matter what number we're at, so don't really pay attention to like the 26,100. Just pay attention to your 10 to 90. Anytime that you're in between those numbers, the market's usually very the trickiest to trade, if you ask me, because you just don't know kind of what you're going to get. So you don't know if your whole number is going to hold up. So a lot of times what I do if I'm trading the 1 minute, because I used to trade a lot of the 1 minute, I'd wait for a 110 hit, then a pullback, another 90 hit. Then once we trade back through the whole number, I'd get long. But as you can see, we did not hit the 110 up there. At least not yet. Believer, have you taken any trades today? Sorry, okay. Yeah, guys, we're pretty much just kind of lost all of our volume, so now we're just kind of just sitting here. Oh, nice on the London session. Yeah, I saw that we had some nice moves in the London today, but being here in the US, that's like early in the morning for me, so it's hard for me to get up that time of the day. I've been trying to learn how to like determine which way the market's going in the evening around Asia market and look for like 50-point moves. And I didn't take it last night, even though it would have won if I'd have went long, but I didn't do it because it just basically went straight up all the way until the London session. Let's see. I still feel like we need to move back down to the 25,900, like the 26,000 whole number there, just to fill in the weekly gap. Yeah, this type price action will just wreck you, man. It'll just chop back and forth, and if you don't have the right stop loss, you just kind of just get chopped up. All right, so they brought down the 21 EMA, so it's all the way down to the 111. So right here, you may get that 110 hit, then the pullback. Dude, that's some nice profit for London. 635. I'm only up 228 for the day, so Mondays can be kind of difficult. Monday is one of those days where you don't really want to dig yourself in a hole. That's usually the worst. I think it just kind of sets off the week in a bad spot. Then you're kind of in revenge mode for the rest of the week. Going to wait for the PM session. I think that's better. I think I'm going to try to trade the PM session today also. I haven't been trading it because I always have something to do or I have to go to work or something. So I don't usually ever get to trade PM session a lot. All right, here comes that 10 level. So let's see if we get that 10, pull back to the 90s, then pop again. Okay, so you ran 3 micros. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I like to do too, believer. That for fundeds, it's usually between 2 and 5. Then for evals, I'll do as much as 10. But today, I've only strictly traded 2 micros like all day. All right, there comes your 110 hit here. I wouldn't mind seeing us drop all the way back into the 90s here. There's the 110 hit. Now let's see if we get back above that 100 level. Let's see if the 90s hold for us. I got the 90s leveled out here. Let's see if it holds. Come on. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll wait for it to kind of get back over that whole number. So if it's going to continue back higher. All right, new 5-minute candle. Ooh. I might be downtown off that 21 EMA. Or maybe to 65. Maybe we can get a bounce at 65. If that area holds. Oh yeah, I'm a big believer in the whole numbers there, believer. So that's almost like the 75 pullback there. Kind of waiting to see if we get back above the 90 level here. Yeah, there's this one guy I trade with a lot on YouTube that's usually in my chat. That's what he does. He trades whole numbers. He trades between the 100, the 25, the 50, 75, and then repeat itself. Use the 1,000 tick charts. I haven't traded a lot off the tick charts. I've tried them, but I haven't done them long enough to get used to them. Most of my trading has usually been on the 1 minute chart, the 5 minute charts. That's usually where I'm taking all my trades on. And then I watch the 1 hour chart. And I trade off of the 15 minutes. Like a lot of times I'll do like the 15-minute breakouts in the morning or 15-minute retest. On the volume profile, it looks like the bears are definitely taking over. We got a lot of sellers that are sitting down at 36. That was your 65 bounce. Right now we're just, oh, my mouse. Right now we're just kind of in a big old consolidation box. Let's draw out our little consolidation box here. So as long as it's inside this box, I'd probably just sit on the sidelines and wait to see which way we're going to break out. It's also getting close to that 11 o'clock hour. And I know the closer we get to the lunch hour, we do not take any trades. We don't usually trade the lunch hour. And so usually what I do is I will look at, let me get my other chart up here and I'll show you what I use as far as that goes. Usually it's the ICT kill zones. So that one kill zone offered a nice little setup today. So it ran those London lows. So I've taken these in the past. I didn't take it this morning. So what you can do is put these ICT kill zones. And if you got a lot of support, you kind of look to the left and see that we did have a lot of support. We had a bunch of candles bouncing at the bottom of the London lows. And we done bounced up, almost 50 points or 60 points off the London lows. If you would have got short, long around the 20 area. That's what we were talking about, the 20s from earlier. That's where this level came from. It was off the London lows. And these are ICT kill zones is what these are. Oh, 11 to 12 is the chop zone. Yeah, I didn't know if it started at 11 or 12. Yeah, sorry about that, believer. I guess TikTok ended my live because I guess I wasn't typing anything in the chat. So I've been trying to just put stuff in the chat so they don't in my live, because I wasn't paying attention to like the little board. I guess there was probably a message popping up, but I wasn't paying attention. So I think what we're going to do is probably take a break for a little bit. Oh, you did the whole 16 to 22 YouTube membership? Dude, that is a lot of information, believer. I've done a little bit of the 22, but I've never looked at the 16. I don't know if they're the same, but I've never messed with the 16. I think I did about 15 or 20 videos on the 22, but I don't think I got all the way through it. A lot of times I just try to take certain things and just focus on that instead of all of it, because it's just so much information. You just got what you could get. Yeah. That's definitely a good way to look at it. It is a lot of information. Well, that too. I wasn't going to be disrespectful or anything. Yeah, I wish it was more direct to the point. Honestly, it would make it so much easier to listen to that if it was just more direct. You know, just get to the point. A lot of people say that, believer. We're not alone. A lot of people like say that from watching ICT, the mentorships. A lot of good information, but a lot of like just talking that just kind of like it gets overwhelming listening. All right, guys, I guess we're just going to call it this morning because we don't want to sit here and overtrade. So we're pretty much going into that lunch hour of chop. So if you're going to continue trading, you want to make sure we get out of this consolidation box here. I mean, I'm still short biased today. So let's see. Let me look at my level thing and see what would change it to make us get back above longs. For longs, you need to get back above 142. Or 26, 142. You need to print above that 126.42. And that's on the 5 minutes. You don't want it just like a wick or something to go above it and come back. You actually want to see something print above that level. Yeah, this is definitely a good time to walk away, guys, if you're still trading. Or, you know, maybe just sit here and watch charts. Then, or 132. Maybe that was on the 1 hour chart that I said that 142 was at. No? Why is it different there? What am I feel like something's different. I don't know. $43. That's weird. For some reason, my trading view charts are different. I don't know why, because they're both on the 5 minute charts. Did it fix itself? No, see, I got one level that's at 42.43, and the other one is sitting at 32.33. I don't know why those levels are off by like 10 points. Unless that was from the hour. I mean, it's still hard to think of longs since we have not ran that opening week gap yet, down at 25,600s. So that could be our after lunch target. Because we opened at 26,014 and we closed at 993. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching this morning and interacting. Be careful if you are going to trade this. Like I said, this is on the NQ. You want to wait till us to get out of this consolidation box here. So just kind of be careful, like taking longs before it breaks out of this area. And this is on the 5-minute charts. Let's see. It's been so long since I've done YouTube, TikTok lives. I'm not even sure how you, oh, there it is, in live. All right. Thank you, believer. Have a good evening if you're still trading. And everyone else, thank you guys for hanging out.